So I rise on behalf of my noble friend Baroness Jones of Moulsecoomb to move Amendment 259, which is, as noble lords will see, a three-word amendment, and this is particularly an amendment that provides argument for the value of explanatory statements, I think. And as that explanatory statement says, the additions of these three words, Energy Act 2021, gives the authorities, local authorities, the power to use the data about home energy efficiency to enforce minimum energy efficiency standards. Now, as we've discussed very often in this bill, many renters are stuck in cold, damp, leaky homes, and sometimes there are very simple and cheap fixes, such as adding or topping up loft insulation. Sometimes it might be more complicated and challenging, such as insulating solid wall properties. Now, this amendment gives local authorities the power to obtain and use energy efficiency information to help private renters. This could allow housing officers to support tenants in the most poorly insulated homes, or it could support councils, and I think this is particularly important, to develop the street-by-street insulation programs that can bring economies of scale and support widespread installation of insulation. Now, the case study, which is quite an old one now, but it is a lovely one, of Kirklees, where my Green Councillor Andrew Cooper was one of the driving forces behind a street-by-street insulation program that we actually saw now Lord Cameron of this House claiming credit for, which may have been a first time that we've seen green achievements being so claimed. But I actually saw reports on how that had worked out afterwards, and one of the things that really came through was how much people are concerned about cowboy builders, and that might be true of landlords as well as tenants, but they trust their local authorities, and that street-by-street process works really well. But to make that happen, you actually need the data, and that's what this modest amendment is designed to achieve. It builds on the positive clause 134, which will already give local authorities more data to support tenants and take enforcement action against failing landlords. Given the hour, I will leave the noble lady Baroness Hayman to explain Amendment 274, which is obviously related to this. But I hope also, in responding, that the noble lady the Minister is able to, briefly given the hour, set out how the government plans to ramp up support for domestic energy efficiency, especially for private renters. As we've just been hearing, so many are in vulnerable situations, and given the cost of living crisis, this is often seen as an environmental measure, but it's actually an absolutely crucial anti-poverty measure, and we need to make this as easy and simple for local authorities to achieve as possible. I beg to move.